The dark night of the soul. In this world, right, we have been programmed to live in a very egocentric way, in a very materialistic way, rather than living in a soul centric way, or rather in a way that helps our spiritual growth. We're focused on material things. It's nice to have material things, guys. It's nice to have money, because money can make things happen. It's nice to drive maybe the latest car or live in the classiest house, or being able to afford whatever it is that you want to buy, right? All of that is nice. It's a part of life experiences. But what happens when you leave this earth? You're going to leave that house that you worked hard for, those cars that you put your money towards, that house that you paid 20 years for. You're going to leave it behind. That degree that you fought so hard to get. Essentially, in the end, all those things do not matter. They don't. We're not going to take them anywhere where we are going. You might leave them for the people that are left behind, but essentially they don't matter. And this is where the dark night of the soul kicks in, because it's when you're going through this period that you start to realize certain truths about life, and you start to realize the depth of life. Why is the dark night of the soul important? It is essential to go through this period of spiritual depression. One, to help you break down the ego, to help you realize that you are no better, right, than the person that is on the street. You are no better than the cleaner that you see somewhere in a supermarket. You are no better. You are one with everything and everyone. Just because you have a couple of thousands of whatever, right, on your body doesn't make you better than the next person. Just because you might drive the latest car doesn't make you better than the next person. Just because you've got more money in the bank does not make you better than the next person. The whole point of the dark night of the soul is to break down the ego. Everything that you thought you were, the whole purpose of the dark night of the soul is to break down the ego. And so you're going to go through a season of purging, where the universe is going to purge you. Kankan, and it's not going to be nice. And it is at this time, when you're going through the purging is painful. Purging is painful. Transformation is painful. It's not supposed to be pleasant. You might lose that job, all right, that you were getting so much money from. You might go through an unexpected heartbreak where somebody just leaves you, right, without any explanation, right? You might go through the death of a parent that you didn't foresee coming or didn't expect so soon. You're going to go through a lot of painful events. And you're going to be expected to still remain standing. It is only at this point, when you are on your knees, when you're calling out to God and there is no reply from God, when you're calling out to a Jesus and you feel like there is no reply from Jesus, right? that you're going to start seeking from within. You're going to start wanting to find answers from within. You're going to go and do a lot of self introspection. You're going to question a lot of things. You're going to question the existence of everything that is created, right? You're going to be in a season of stillness. You're going to be in a season of darkness where you feel that there's actually nothing, right, that I'm essentially here for, right? You're going to feel like maybe things are not working out the way that you had anticipated. It's all part of the journey, the dark night of the soul. Breaking down the ego is not an easy thing. It's definitely going to be difficult. Detaching yourself from materialism, detaching yourself from people, letting go is never easy. And during this process, your ego will try to fight back. Right? It fights back through anger. It fights back through feelings of depression. It fights back through feelings of hopelessness. It fights back through feelings of, am I good enough? What am I here for? This is all part of the stripping of the ego. Your ancestors and guides are going to use pain in your life to help you learn spiritual lessons, to help you to elevate. Very important. For as long as your heart has not broken in this lifetime, you have not gone through a death, you haven't gone through an unexpected maybe divorce, you haven't gone through an unexpected breakup, you haven't been fired from that job, you haven't, hey, all the money that you thought you had, you no longer have. You understand? This is all part of the dark night of the soul. You're going to go through a season of purging. Being in this utter darkness, you are going to just come to realizations, about life. It is literally like a death of oneself. I had experienced a phase of my own where I was going through the dark night of the soul. Right. Firstly, I experienced a death when I was miles and miles away. One of my parents died. My father passed away. I was nowhere near him. I just got a phone call and they told me what had happened. I was 10,000 of miles away when that happened. And I had to face all of that on the other side alone. It was a very inconveniencing time in my life. But that's beside the point. I remember when I was going through my initial stages of Uktwasa, right? Or spiritual initiation. And I was wearing a red skirt. And my mentor at the time, with my red skirt and my buys, first of all, I'm the type of person, man, I don't want to be seen in public. You understand? Like, I just have, some levels of social anxiety. And so I just didn't want people to know, about what it is that I was going through at the time for many reasons, But now here comes my mentor, and she was like, at the time, she sent me into a mall full of people. Have you ever entered a mall, red skirt? Guys, I wanted to dig a hole and bury myself like in there, but First of all, people are going to be like, whoa, is it, what, red scared? What's going on? You understand? But the lesson in that was about the transformation, right? About ridding yourself of everything that you ever thought that you were. If you thought titles were essentially what made you, or money is what made you, all right, then you were highly mistaken. Why are you embarrassed to be seen in a red skirt, right? Because there's a a stigma around sangomas or dingak. I had to swallow my pride and walk into that mall, a very big mall, got red skirt. I was just hoping at that time I didn't bump into anyone. You understand? So, the dark night of the soul is a period, right, of time in your life. It could last months, it could last years, but essentially, it is about the purging. It is about the transformation. It is about getting you through the dark tunnel. You know that in there's an English saying, I don't know where it really comes from, right? But they talk about how at the end of every dark tunnel, right, there's light. That's essentially what the dark night of the soul is about. You will go through a period of darkness, and this period of darkness is essentially supposed to lead you towards the light. So I just wanted to reflect on that and encourage someone that might be feeling a little bit heavy. Spiritually, guys, we are moving up, energetically, and we're tapping into other levels of consciousness. Not everyone, those that are trying, right, and willing. But this period of time can feel like a very hard time for most people. We are living in a world that does not give a damn, right, about its people. There's bombs everywhere. There's wars everywhere. Because of what? Material gain. We are living in governments, right, that don't care about the people. Because we are led by mafias, all right, of a government that care about money. They don't care about the well-being of people. They don't essentially care about the health of people. They don't care. We're living in a world where it's hard to make ends meet. You understand? We're living in a world where there's high inflation. And everything of the materialistic, capitalistic world is consuming the average person. We are living in a world where there's high suicide rates because people are hopeless. People don't see a point to life. Everything feels hard at this particular point in time. So you might be going through a period where you are going through your own dark night of the soul. Maybe someone who was murdered in your family. Maybe your child is on drugs. Maybe you going through a personal depression, spiritual depression. Maybe you feel that things are just not working out. You're questioning your existence. What's the point of life at this point in time? And I want to tell people that do not lose hope. Do not lose hope. Keep hope alive. You're not alone. Things are particularly very heavy at this point in time in life. And it is because we're moving into higher levels of consciousness and energy, If you don't have a spiritual practice or are not engaging in some sort of spiritual work, I suggest you do. Get into meditation, get into yoga, get into religious praying, do something, try to uplift your energy, because we are living in a time where the current world is looking to consume the average person, right? The average soul. And if you're not investing yourself spiritually, you're going to have a hard time moving through the years even to come. So remember, the point of going through this dark passage is for you to eventually see the light. I hope that I've encouraged someone today, and I hope that we have learned something. Don't forget to comment, leave your comments down below. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. So, Thokozani ebukhosini, shalom, selifanya, shewe, ashe, asho. Till next time, love and light.